Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Real Estate Marketing Show with Ruthie Rocks, Ruth Allbrand, and I am Marketing Max. Happy Mother's Day weekend to everybody. We appreciate all the hardworking mothers that have given us the opportunity of life this year. We celebrate you this weekend. We have a special.
Everybody has one.
And everybody has one, right? Not everybody has a father, but everybody has a mother. So no, we appreciate all you mothers out there. Hopefully this weekend brings you a lot of joy and appreciation from the people who love around you, who love you and respect you and value you as a mother, like I do. I need to reach out and reminds me I need to reach out to my mom tonight. So today we have a special guest. His name is Jeff Gitlin. He's with Jagged Edge Marketing, and he's going to share with us some strategies that he works with local business owners that could be very, relatable to the real estate market and real estate agents on how to market themselves online today. But before we get to Jeff, Ruth, what is happening in real estate?
Well, I'm going to drop Jeff down into the lobby and put our stats up. And here we are, May the 8th. And we have only 17 days of inventory, which is historically low. Yes, 17 days of inventory. We have 2,735 available condos, single family homes, and townhomes. And that's only 17 days worth because we're selling on average 113 homes a day. Now, that's because it's the beginning of the month. Last month, it got to a record high of 155 homes we were selling a day. And as the month goes on, we'll see more and more that number increase, probably get pretty close to that 150. So that's what we're looking at. All of this year so far, we're averaging 136 homes a day being sold. The good news for me as a real estate broker is that we just listed 174 homes in Las Vegas. And that's why it went from 16 days of inventory to 17, because we were able to list more than we sold. We sold 157 homes yesterday, but we listed 174. And I always like that number next to be a little bit higher.
Absolutely.
And the $1 million homes are amazing this year. All of last year, we sold 618 homes over $1 million. That's the total year. This year already, 4 months and 8 days into this year, we've sold 516 homes over $1 million, which is 84% of what we did all of last year.
Wow.
In the first 4 or 5 months. I mean, that's just amazing. The $1 million homes just are flying away. And the one thing that we have to say is those Californians, they just keep coming with their money and they keep buying those homes. So that's really a wonderful thing. One of the things that I wanted to bring up today, Max, is that inflation and rising mortgage rates are on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the consumer price index rose 1.7% since last year when it had sunk to zero. And the increase, the 1.7 increase was driven by higher prices in used cars, utilities, meats, healthcare. And in addition, the rental homes went up 1.5% in the monthly rent. And while the home prices rose 15% for this year, they're not in that index. And they're not in that index because they're an asset. They're not a, what would you call it? A
consumable good.
Yeah, consumable, yeah. And so inflation can push up the mortgage rates. And the Federal Reserve recently said it won't raise interest rates until 2023. But no matter, mortgage rates may still climb. So the Fed rate and the mortgage rate are two different things.
Yes.
The lending industry buys the money from the Feds at their rate, so they have to make money. So they probably are going to increase their rates. And it's interesting, Max, because the millennials have never experienced what we experienced back in 1970. Were you born then?
Yes, I was barely born then.
You're barely born then.
I was the latter half of that decade.
Well, inflation averaged about 7.1% back then. And it topped out at 11% in 1979. And that was the same interest rate to buy a home. And the primary cause was excessive printing of money. And that's similar to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We're
what
a
are
little
the,
different though. I mean, I'll make a comment on the inflation
please?
thing. Is like in this environment, we're a little different than it was in the 1970s. I think after in the 1970s, in 60s, I think Nixon or the president before him got us off the gold standard, right? Where our
Yes.
dollar was backed by actually physical gold stored in like
Yes.
Fort Knox at the Federal Reserve. And so we got off that standard, and the rest of the world was still running on that standard, right? Where they were supposed to have, physical gold backing their own currencies. The difference then is that today we all across the world, we run on a central banking system where everybody around the world is printing money just like we are. The only country supposedly that has a bunch of gold is Russia right now. And for the most part, we're not too concerned about Russia as far as a trading partner. And so with China being our largest trading partner, right, with our goods and services, and for whatever reason, the Chinese government decides to devalue their currencies to make sure they stay competitive as a manufacturing hub across the world. So that actually helps Americans and the American dollar, because we don't have to worry about our trade deficit that we have with China right now being, decimated by the dollar, or the devaluation of our dollar because of all our money printing.
Yeah.
So the inflation that we're seeing right now, as far as like the lumber prices, that's in the news right now. Lumber prices are up like 40, 30, 40,
Yes.
50% or something from last year. I'm having some shiplap done, if you can see in the background here. Shiplap prices doubled in price over the last like month, which is crazy.
Wow.
So
Yes.
so my contractor's a little mad because he quoted me a price a month ago and he had to eat the cost of that.
Oh,
But
ouch.
but this is more of supply chain issues right now, right?
Yeah.
The ramping up of demand for goods, services right now as the economy starts to pick up is forcing inflation in the short term.
Yeah.
We don't think that's going to continue for too long. At one point, everybody will spend all the stimulus money, and we'll get back to normal times. And so, I mean, inflation is not going to run rampant. I know Janet
No.
Yellen spoke this week, and she kind of put her foot in her mouth, and the stock market kind of went down just a little bit here, but we don't think the days of us going back to rampant inflation like we did in the 70s, where mortgage rates were like 15% in the 80s.
Right. I remember.
It's far off, simply. And the reason why we see asset prices climbing like real estate and the stock market today is the fact that over the course of the last 20, 30 years, we printed 24 additional trillion dollars of money out of thin air. And that money just doesn't disappear. Once the Fed prints that money, it doesn't disappear. It recirculates in the system and eventually lands in the hands of investors, institutions, and big corporations, which in turn, in a low interest rate environment that we're in right now, have to deploy that money into something that continues to beat out inflation, which is now running at 2.6% right now.
Yeah.
So that's why real estate over the last 30 years, the more money has been printed, the real estate prices have accelerated, right? Because real assets are being bought up, and the demand for them are being bought up tremendously. So I just want to make that comment. I don't think we need to worry too much about mortgage rates until there is a little bit of a correlation between the Federal Reserve's Fed's window rate that the banks can borrow at versus what the banks are going to charge.
Right.
And so until that rises, actually mortgage rates have come down this week because the 10-year Treasury yield has come down. So
and they're also saying in this article that Dr. Lawrence Young, the chief economist of NAR, wrote that they don't see things happening until maybe after 2022, and inflation will probably get like 2% next year. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I actually did a show this week on there isn't a bubble, and explained why we don't have a bubble in real estate either, which trying to inform the public and get the real estate agents out there to inform the public as much as possible about these issues. I think the only caution that I would give to agents and first-time home buyers may be affected if the rates go up a little bit. That's the only issue I see. So I think the market is fantastic. We got low interest rates still. We still have first-time home buyers coming into the market. We have investors coming into the market. We have people moving from California here. There's a lot of moving across the whole country, and right now it's all good. And I think that people are in their mind, they just want to buy a home. And 10 years ago, the median priced home here was 120,000. Now it's 120. I know, and it's tripled. And it's tripled. So I think people realize, what a great investment home ownership is. So anyway, that's it for me today. I see the Raiders are just going on fire. Their value has doubled since they announced they were coming to Vegas. So that's a good thing. There's some rumors about the draft again, but I don't want to speak out of, just what I heard. I haven't seen it in writing yet, but we'll see. Anyway, lots of good things going on. Shows are selling out. The hotels are coming back. So Las Vegas is back.
Weekends are booked right now in Las Vegas. So all right.
I will bring on our guest.
All right, Jeff.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Once again, this is Jeff Gitlin from Jagged Edge Marketing here. So give us a little bit. I always ask this question first of all our guests. Are you a native of Las Vegas or are you a transplant?
I am a longtime transplant. I moved here just over 20 years ago. So I've been here. I caught the market early. Glad.
All right, you caught it before the first boom in Las Vegas.
I did. I was lucky to do that, and I moved here from Southern California. I grew up in Los Angeles, moved here in 2001, and don't miss it at all.
Everybody that leaves California, I mean, especially goes to a great town like Las Vegas here. It's hard to get back to Vegas. And they don't miss all the things that we left California for.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I do miss the beach, but like I said to my wife, it's a lot cheaper and nicer to live in Vegas and go to Malibu or Hawaii for a couple of weeks, and you still come you'll come out way ahead.
Way ahead.
For a couple of weeks, you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself here and what Jagged Edge Marketing is and what you do and how you help local business owners with the marketing here, Jeff.
Sure. Well, so I actually got into marketing because of myself. I told Ruth this before, which is I produced shows on the Las Vegas Strip and shows in Hawaii and kind of all over the place off Broadway. I produced the second longest running show on off Broadway. So I've competed in markets. I've competed against Cirque du Soleil and Celine Dion and Phantom of the Opera and these big companies. And I always knew that there's no way to compete on a big level. So I needed to do it in more of a smaller level, but in a smarter way. And so years ago, I got involved in really understanding and how to market through online. And from there, I opened up Jagged Edge Marketing a while back to be able to not only do it for myself, but also for other businesses too. So when you're competing against the biggest competitors in the world, you got to know what you're doing. If you try to throw money at that, it won't work. So instead of doing that, you got to go grassroots and you got to understand really everything online. And I understood that quite a while ago. I understood 20 years ago that the way to go really was online. So that's what my focus became. And I really just started focusing primarily in the Google My Business world and understanding how to rank. And if you can rank, you can generate business. So that's kind of my philosophy.
Right. Okay. So all these young marketing guys and gals coming up here, right? They're gonna poo-poo on Google rankings, right? That's like so 2010-ish. Is Google still a viable place to get business and marketing, and how? And can you share with us some maybe examples or case studies that you've kind of worked with business owners and how that's helped them?
Sure. Well, the fewer people that work through Google, the better for me. I don't really think that's the case, but if that is, I'm happy to hear about it. That's where I focus. There's something called Google My Business. That's what the map pack is. So when you search for anything, whether it's restaurants near me or whether it's movie theaters near me. It doesn't really matter. You get usually a couple of ads, and then there's a map, and then three or four listings. Those listings are at the moment organic. However, I've heard lots of rumors about Google, wanting to charge for those spaces. I don't think that'll happen because that kind of blows the system up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, those are organic rankings. 75% of the searches through Google stop at the Google Map Pack, and part of that is because you see everything about the site. You see the phone number, you see a website, and it gives credibility and authority to your site if you rank in there. It is you can't buy that. You can buy the ad above it, but it says ad. So people put a lot of trust into the Google My Business, and the majority of business stops right there. In fact, even higher than ranking your website organically it's a whole different strategy to rank into the map pack than it is to just rank on Google. Now, it doesn't mean that ranking on the first page somewhere is a bad thing. It's still good. But the old joke is, where do people go to die? On the second page of Google. That's if you're on the second page of Google, you're in trouble. You can still get business. There's no question about it, but it takes time. It's a ranking system. There's no real way to do it. There's no roadmap, but there's just a lot of things that you have to do. You kind of mix it up into a big pot. And it depends. I mean, if you're in a small city versus a large city, that helps. If you're in a smaller niche versus a larger niche, that helps. So it just depends. Anyone who's trying to rank as a plumber or an HVAC guy in a major city, good luck to you. But if you have, bounce houses in a small town, probably rank pretty quickly for the bounce house guy. So it just depends.
How as you talk and approach business owners, right, and local businesses on talking about utilizing your services, I mean, are they more receptive now and understand that, getting online, using Google, ranking, all those concepts? I mean, are they more receptive? I know about 10 years ago, people were just like, it's kind of cool, but I'll still go to my local phone book guy or, billboard or radio or whatever.
Yeah, I don't. I've done radio. I've done billboards for my own businesses. It's fine. I mean, unless you're on Howard Stern, I don't really think you're getting much reach. So I don't believe in that. Billboards are untrackable. Taxi tops are untrackable. Ads in specific magazines can be trackable if you have a different phone number. Mailers are actually successful. I think mailers can be a great way to generate business. But if you were to say to me, I got $5,000 this month for marketing, what should I do? I'd say throw it all into optimizing your business online, because that becomes an organic thing and it just stays there. It's a recurring opportunity for you. And so, but it takes time. And it takes thought, and it takes understanding of what's really happening to get up there. Primarily content. I think content is the number one thing. Ruth, you've done an outstanding job over the years with your content. I've actually never seen anything like it. I think it's fantastic. What is it, show 535, right?
Show 535, right?
And that's extraordinary. I haven't seen that before. And then your website is also very interesting. So with Google My Business, it's a local search. So if you were to search in Las Vegas for a property manager, depending upon what part of town you search, you're going to get a certain set of results. So in other words, if you search in Summerlin, which is a community here in Nevada, in Las Vegas, if you search for something in Summerlin, you're going to get a different result than if you search for something in Henderson. And the reason for that is that Google localizes its searches. So you have to optimize for Summerlin, you have to optimize for Henderson, you have to optimize for North Las Vegas. And that it's a whole process and an understanding of the structure of your site and the structure of how to do it and the structure of your content. Creating content is not an easy thing. It takes thought and it takes understanding. But you can pay a lot to hire writers, or you could also organically do it. Here's a really great, simple, easy way to outrank your competitors. You just go onto find out what All right, here we go. You ready? So you go.
Yeah, we always like to give our audience a few tactical
All
things
right.
that they can take and maybe implement right away. So that was my follow up question, but you kind of hit me ahead. So yeah, give us a few ideas here.
Here's a free way to do this. Okay, you just find out what they're ranking for. There are certain free tools that you can do this. If you own a Gmail, for example, and you go into the Google Ads Planner, there's a keyword search. Okay, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, you may have to set up your profile if you haven't done that. But if you go into Keyword Planner and you type in whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's say it's property management, right? You'll come up with a whole list of keywords. I like to compete with the nursery school group rather than the high level PhDs.
Right.
And so if you wanted to rank for property management, there may be 1,000 other terms that include the name property management, but you didn't even think of. And using those words, those keywords, you start to write all that down. You find out what your competitors, the top pages that they rank for, and there's free searches to be able to do that. There's a tool called Uber Suggest, for example. Neil Patel is one of the top leading search engine guys in the country. He's fantastic. So you go onto Uber Suggest, you type in the keyword, it'll give you the list, or you type in the URL of a competitor, and you can find out what they're ranking for. When you see what they're ranking for, just write a better article of what they have, but include the keywords on it. So there's ways to do that. If you typed in property management in Google, you'll start to see a list that gets created of, in fact, if I were to do it right now, I type in property.
In the search bar, right? Like
in the search bar, right?
Right.
So when you type that, you'll see, for here it says property management Las Vegas, property management Las Vegas NV, property management companies near me, Henderson, property management Las Vegas jobs. That's interesting. And all of these searches have keywords that it goes from top to bottom in terms of the amount of search. And those are extra keywords. Google's telling you what people search for. Then if you scroll down a little bit, there's a section where it says people ask. So what is a property manager's responsibilities? And it gives an answer. What is a good property manager? All that stuff. And when you start to focus on those keywords, entering that and creating content about that will outrank your competitors. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, there's also related searches. Property management Nevada, property management for rent. I wouldn't have thought of property management for rent. Interesting thing. Here's another interesting little trick. And Google tells you, they're literally telling you what to rank for. If you type in property management and then spacebar A, it'll start to list all the different things in terms of keywords that property management space A, like property management accounting, gets 12,100 searches a month. Property management association, property management agreement PDF gets 390 searches a month. I bet you if I created an article about property management agreement and highlighted that as my main keyword, I would rank on the top page of that pretty quickly. And there's 390 searches a month to do it. Then type in property management space B. Now you've got things like property management business plan. That gets 480 searches a month. Property management books, property management business for sale, and so forth. So Google's telling you what you should rank for. Property management classes Las Vegas. Ruth, I bet you're number one. If you type in property, and that's property management C, you're going to get, it gets 20 searches a month. That's quite a bit. If you take 10 or 15 of those keywords that get 20 searches a month, you now have 200 searches a month, right? And you can rank pretty easily for those. But if you try to rank for a difficult keyword, if you try to rank for a difficult search, you may never get there. Mm-hmm. So I like to go after the easier words and it's just kind of simple ideology. It's not like I'm creating some great scheme here, but go after the words that have an ability to rank, because I don't care if someone types in a smaller keyword and I get a bunch of searches that way and I can easily rank for it. It's just as good as ranking for the, for the big ones.
Yeah.
So, if you want to be Las Vegas realtor, there's going to be some pretty significant competition, right, Ruth? If you type in,
yeah, we used to have a website, LasVegasRealEstate.com, and we were #1 for years until people hired people like you to, and taught people how to rank, and now there's over 2 million searches for that Las Vegas real estate long tail keyword. I mean, you can't do it anymore. You've got to come up with something different, like Summerlin homes with pools, or Summerlin homes with on a cul-de-sac. You have to do more long tail to get any type of ranking.
It's true. Like if you were to try to get to rank for Realtor Las Vegas, which you can do, it's going to take you more time. There's 8,100 searches a month for that. And
where do you see that number, Jeff?
Okay, so there's also a free tool called Keywords Everywhere. If you go into the Google Chrome store,
got it,
and type in, I think it's called Keywords Everywhere. I get a list of searches for that. You can do a lot of stuff for free, and you can do a lot of stuff to pay for. I can go out and hire a writer and say, I want you to write an article on, like, I looked this up. Realtor Las Vegas is 8,100 searches a month. You're never going to rank for that because it's going to be hard. But Realtor Las Vegas rental homes gets 10 searches a month. Not great. Realtor Las Vegas Rentals gets 260 searches a month. So if we created an article called Realtor Las Vegas Rentals and include keywords with that might get you, at the top of 500 searches a month. That's not bad. So how do you do that? You can hire a writer to do that. Here's another fun trick of how to find content. You ready for this? So there's something called Wayback Machine. Have you ever heard of this, Ruth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you go into Wayback Machine, which basically logs websites for years and years and years. And some rank, I think it's waybackmachine.net. Wayback.
If you put in sunnylasvegas.com, you'll see my first website.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's actually archive.org/web. But it's called the Wayback Machine. What was it called, Ruth?
sunnylasvegas.com.
Right. So it basically archives web pages. Yeah. Right. It just goes back to the year 2000.
Well, that wasn't my first one, but I think is that the animated one? Has some caricatures on it using the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that website. So this is dead, right? This doesn't exist anymore.
We point it now to LasVegasRelocation.com.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
If you go onto web.archive.org, that's the URL for this. You can find either through a URL or words related to a site, and these go back. You can find expired domains, which is also a free way to do this, and find a domain that was in the niche that you're looking for. And you could literally take content that was written for sites that are not indexed, check to make sure, and literally take that content, it's already written for you, and just reword it, rewrite it, reorganize it, reoptimize it. And you have all the content in the world that you could need, because there's millions of sites that are dead, that are expired in the niche that you're looking for. And you'll come up with ideas. Oh, I never thought of that. And all the content's written for you. I don't say plagiarize, but actually that content is like written and then thrown in the garbage. So there's ways to check. There's something called Copyscape. That is a paid program, and you can copy it. You can paste in the content in there, and if it's not indexed on the internet, it's yours. So that's a free way to go out and find content and build your site. I would re-optimize it. I would put in the proper keywords, but that's kind of a fun way to do it. You know, you can hire a writer to do that stuff, and I do, and I have people that work for me that write stuff, but I also like to get creative on things like that. I think that's a really neat way to do it, is as long as it's not indexed online, I'll take old content or repurposed content and put it on, and I'll rank within a day or two.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's neat stuff. So that's a way.
So how can you tell if it's indexed or not?
Sorry?
How can you tell if it's indexed or not?
So there's something called Copyscape. It's a program. I don't know what the credits cost, but you type the paragraph in or the content in there. You just copy and paste it in there, and it'll spit out whether it's whether that exists anywhere online or not. It's like a plagiarism checker, right? So if you were to, technically, you could go onto Wayback Machine, find the content, paste it into Copyscape, and if it's not indexed online,
hi, this is John Albrand.
You just created hundreds, if not thousands, of words of content in a very short amount of time that's indexable on your site that relates to what you're doing. And then when you do like that little trick that I said, which is just type in whatever you want onto Google and then type in space A and then space B and then space C and use keyword everywhere, pretty soon you're going to have a set of keywords for a collection of content. You're going to outrank your competitor pretty quickly for those.
Yeah. That's pretty slick.
This is good stuff. That is pretty slick.
And that costs nothing.
So how do you get your, so the second question is, when you say write an article, where do you post these articles?
So that goes into the structure of the site for me. The other thing, one of the things that I like to do is post it onto the site and then syndicate it into social media. Social media is very helpful for the validation of your content. I still think that your content will rank best if it's on your site as opposed to on social media, but social media validates. In other words, if you have a link back from social media to your site, that will help validate that content. That gives it the ability to rank higher. Backlinks are important for understanding how to compete against people. Here's another free way I love the free ways. Look, it's easy to spend money, right? I mean, we can all
very easy.
We can all go out and buy thousands of dollars worth of tools and do all this stuff, but the free way to do stuff like this is to just go onto your competitors and see, or it doesn't even have to be your competitors. You can look up your niche in other cities. You could look up, Ruth's in Las Vegas, I'm in Las Vegas, but if we looked up, realtors in Orlando, big city, and look at the top page and open up their pages and see what they're ranking for. See what pages what are their top pages they're ranking for. And then just write better content than what they have and post it. If you go to a bigger city, Dallas, LA, New York, Orlando, you go to a city like that, just find out who's ranking. They're doing something right. So just look at their top pages. Look at the pages that have the highest click-through rate, that have the highest content ability, and just write it better. So in other words, if someone's writing about give me a topic, Ruth. A national
in real estate, like low inventory real estate has low inventory.
Okay. So if someone's ranking for low inventory real estate in Orlando, I would see How is it they're ranking? What is their H1? The H1 is kind of like the main title of the page. What's their H1? Because I bet you anything that that's got a high ranking. This can take less than 5 minutes. It's not like a complicated thing. Just see what they're ranking for, and then go write the article the way I just described in a short amount of time, but write it for the market here. Enter the keywords like I explained how to do for free. Enter some of those keywords. I mean, you don't want to blast the page with just tons of, you don't want to just keep saying Las Vegas Realtor, Las Vegas Realtor, Las Vegas Realtor.
Yeah.
If you do that, you overpower the page. But I'm talking about a real good quality way to do it. Here's another free way to do it. Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an awesome, I understand that Google uses Wikipedia a lot for ranking. A lot. So if you were to go into Wikipedia and type in the keyword, like real estate agent, for example, it can come up with some fantastic keywords that you can use as part of your site. Let me look. So, and they put it in bold, in blue on Wikipedia. For example, in Wikipedia, they're talking about, see below for a broker licensee, and in bold blue, they have relationship to sellers and their relationship with buyers. Okay. If you were to put into an article relationship to sellers and relationship to buyers, I bet you're going to rank for it. Broker's price opinion. I've never heard of that. This is a type of service a broker can provide.
That's a comparative market analysis. That's determining the value of your home.
Yeah, no, I know what it, I would understand what it is, but I've never actually heard the term. Like I've heard the term real estate appraisal, but I've never heard the term, I've never actually heard someone say a broker's price opinion. I'm just curious. I'm looking it up. And then if you go into broker's price opinion on Wikipedia, they have a whole section on things like a BPO company. They have a whole, they list, they're telling you the keywords: zoning requirements, comparable properties, automated valuation model. These are really, this is broker's price. I'm just curious.
Now I see why Ruth got you on the show. She's getting free consulting advice.
No, but it's great. But listen, like so I just typed in broker's price opinion into Google, and I get 140 searches a month for broker's price opinion. There's 140 searches a month for that.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, and then it says people ask, how much does a broker opinion of value cost? So that's called, those are called the featured snippets. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that where it's the people also ask section.
No.
And it's right on the first page of Google. It literally, that's what's so interesting. It's kind of
hands it to you.
Well, Ruth, it's hiding in plain sight, right?
Yeah, right.
So if you wrote okay, so I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna write this down. A broker's price opinion. Okay. And we're going to write an article for you, and we're going to rank it. Because as part of that, at the bottom, it says related searches. Broker price opinion sample, broker price opinion companies, broker price opinion cost.
Yeah.
These are Google, it's hiding in plain sight. They are telling you, they're literally telling you what people search for. So why don't you just write an article about that?
Easy peasy. I mean, yeah, we have the whole page about that on our website, actually.
What's that?
Broker's price opinion.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's called "What's Your House Worth?" That's what a broker's price opinion is.
Right. And if you put in that article in bold with a link, broker's price opinion, that helps Google understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. And so if I'm a real estate agent and I've got my business page, and you talk about verifying it. It has to be verified.
Yeah, so you want to, to get, the first step to get into that map pack is you have to submit through, I think it's business.google.com is how you start. Yeah, so it's business.google.com, and set up your company and go through the process of the name and the category.
It's just like setting up a profile in LinkedIn. Basically, you just answer the questions.
Yeah, category is an important one.
Yes.
Because there are like 4,500 categories in Google. And so think about this, like if you misplace your category, your competitor who actually has that category right, their odds are they're going to rank above you for that. You really only need one category. I've seen people that put like as many categories. I forgot what the limit is, but you can put it as many as it'll allow you. It's really kind of pointless because if you list 5 categories of things that you do, I mean, honestly, like if the 5th category is listed as like property management, you're gonna have all the property management companies that put that category first. You're gonna have a difficult time competing against them. So I really like to narrow down and niche that down. So when you're filling out the information for Google My Business, really zone in on what is the category. So you fill out the information, a postcard comes within a week or two, and that's how you verify your listing. Because if you go on to, there's like over 95% of the businesses out there don't have any clue of how to verify. I could shut down 100 businesses in the next 5 minutes if I wanted to. Because you can go on to it. Like you can go on to anything. Just type in restaurants near me. And almost every single one of them, you go to restaurants near me and then you click maps. You know, at the top where it says like images and maps and videos, and you can scroll down and just see all the businesses out there that haven't verified themselves. So crazy.
Right. And then there's the claim. You can claim a business, right, that hasn't been verified.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
You can shut a business down. You could change their hours. You could change the name of the company.
I don't think the competition would like that, but
Right.
Now they don't. And there are competitors out there that really, most people are reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, look, I mean, everyone has competition regardless of what business you're in. If you're a restaurant, you have competition. If you're a real estate agent, you have competition. Everyone's got competition. And most people are generally nice, but there's some people that just blast away at each other. It can get really nasty, you know. But there are lots of ways to try to mess with people, and one of the first ways to do it is through that Google My Business listing and to try to claim a business.
Yeah. Well, once you have your business page set up in Google, I think that it's important, and everybody, I've learned most of this from Jeff, that you ask people for reviews.
Right. So I'll put reviews at probably 1B. 1A is get your business set up through GMBs, Google My Business. But reviews, well, just think about it. If you type in, you know, hairdresser near me, and you get 3 of them that come up, and the first guy's got 127 reviews, and the second guy has 4, and the third guy has 0. Who are you going to pick? Who are you going to call? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and so reviews are such an important component, and Google really values that, because and also values it if someone tries to mess with your business too. If you've got 150 reviews, positive 5-star reviews, and you're getting them just constantly, and then your competitor just tries to like shut you down and just say your business is closed, Google's going to ignore that. Be like, no, that's not true. That's not. And here's another really important tip on reviews: respond to them, and respond to them with your keyword.
That builds trust. You told me
it does. If someone writes, "Ruth, I had such a great experience with you. Thank you very much."
Yeah.
Respond back to them and say, "It was a pleasure working with you on and use some keywords in there.
Yes.
It was a pleasure working with you on your rental property, Las Vegas." Okay. It is such a great way to do it. I have created a system for reviews where we automate out through a spreadsheet. I mean, some people have years and years and years of former clients and people they've worked with, and you can go back to those people and ask for a review. You have to be very careful with reviews. You don't want to be messing with that. You don't want to be fake reviewing it. I mean, there's lots. Look, you could call up 10 of your closest friends and say, "Hey, throw a good review up there for me." Is Google going to catch it? Probably not. But if you start having reviews from someone in Pennsylvania for your Las Vegas property, you don't want to do that.
All right.
So
try to be Pakistan or India. You're reviewing your business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you want to be careful with that. You also can't pay people for reviews. I think it's important to note that. Hey, look, give me a good review, and I'll give you a Starbucks card or something. What you can do is you could thank somebody for a review. In other words, I'd really appreciate that. I'd like to, and that's good for business. To send you a Starbucks card or something. But you can't
incentivize people to give you a review.
No, and you can't incentivize and say, "Look, if you give me a 5-star versus a 2." So that's one. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you think about this, the number 1 search engine in the world is Google. Do you know what number 2 is?
YouTube.
YouTube. And guess who owns YouTube?
Google.
Google.
Right.
So you can utilize a great technique. I think it's important to have video on your site. A reference from YouTube to Google, a reference from YouTube onto your site is valuable. Cross-referencing that, posting on your website, and then cross-posting it to YouTube is a good idea.
So all of my shows, I should put on a special page on my website.
That's why I'm asking for that content.
with a link. So here's the question. So that would be like every day, because I do a show every day, almost 6 days a week now. I would say, for the local real estate stats, click here, and it would go to my YouTube channel for that video. That's what you're saying. That is so easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, links back and forth are valuable. Linking out is good. In other words, like the what's the big realtor association?
NAR, National Association of Realtors.
Right. So linking out to them is good. Linking into you from YouTube is good. I think that gives you a lot of validity.
I was just thinking, Ruth, you could what I would do is I would transcribe all your shows, put that as articles on your website, and then link back to your YouTube channel, and then your YouTube channel. And you know how we do the stats in the beginning, right?
Yes.
Like that little part of Las Vegas stats, or when you start doing national stats, you can just create a separate YouTube channel called, Las Vegas real estate stats or real estate stats, the condensed version, much like Joe Rogan does his like clips, right? And then in that, want to see the full article or the full show, click here and then link back to your website for the fully transcribed, article or the full video in your other channel.
There's a program, I think it's called Content Gorilla, and that does that, where it transcribes the content from a video. So I don't remember what it costs, but you can buy Content Gorilla, and you can. I
think Ruth always has a transcription service. that she
Yeah.
uses for all the videos.
Oh, do you pay for that, or is there like a
Yeah.
content?
It's $1.25 a minute.
Right. Content Gorilla will just take every video out there on YouTube. You just put in the link to it, and it'll give you the transcription of the whole video. So then you take that, repurpose that content. Again, you don't want to take it and just post it. I mean, you can, it's someone else's content, but there's nothing wrong with utilizing. I mean, no, it's not like it's proprietary information, right? So you could take it, use it as headlines and H1s and H2s and create articles on that. Look, it's all about the content, right? That's what people are ranking. And in the end, it's all about, you want to come up when people look for you. Well, how do you do that? It's got to be about content.
Yes.
Particularly in a competitive city like Las Vegas, and it's getting more and more competitive here. If you're in a smaller town, you're not going to have to do as much.
Right.
You're just not. But I like to focus on ways to do this in a smart way. And for me, that's finding searches that other people are using and incorporating keywords. I think Wikipedia is a great strategy, actually.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about online, is you can reverse engineer a lot of things, you know. So I mean, and especially now, I mean, people say that it's harder to, you know, do SEO or rank, but sometimes it's much easier now because people have already trailblazed the way to do it. And all you got to do is reverse engineer some of the things that they do and do it better, or do it different. And I think you can possibly get the same result in, you know, much less half the time that they did and they took to do it. So
it's so funny because, I mean, you can get lost in this. Like,
you really can.
You know what I mean? Like,
really
you get lost in it just from Wikipedia. Because, like, I clicked on from one of whatever the last one we were just looking at, and I saw the word earnest payment. So I looked up earnest payment. That has 480 searches a month. And then you could write an article just on earnest payment. What happens to earnest money at closing? That gets 320 searches a month. Is earnest money refundable? Earnest money recalculator? Earnest money versus down payment? If I added all those keywords, if I wrote one article on earnest payment, there's like 15,000 searches a month combined on that. You know, and then on the Wikipedia page for earnest payment, they have a whole. You just keep going. It goes on forever. Just keep clicking on words in there. It's fantastic. You just gotta, you know, just be smart about how you do it. And
we got to have Jeff on the show again, because he can fill probably like 5 episodes.
Oh yeah,
and
I try to do it. I try to do it again. This all started from, how am I going to compete against Cirque du Soleil? I'm not going to be able to outspend them. They have $100 million ad budget. Who knows what they're spending? I can't. No, it's got to be from a smarter way of doing this. And what's really interesting is that Google tells you what to do. It's hiding in plain sight. Right. If you type in the word, they're telling you what to do. They have related search terms. They have people also ask. They're begging you to say, here it is. This is what you got to do. And
Google's not going away.
I don't think so. And by the way, once you do this, you're also going to optimize for Bing, and Bing, which is Yahoo. You can rank a lot quicker even on Bing than you can on Google.
Yeah.
It just, you know, you're not going to get as many searches, but I think
it's some, right?
If you're in a big city, Las Vegas, you also want to optimize the cities. And that'll help for search. Again, the more complicated niche market, the more complicated niche that you're in, the more difficult it is. But if you've got neighborhoods and cities within a big community like Las Vegas, and Ruth, you've done an outstanding job on this, listing with videos and content about different communities like Red Rock or the Ridges and things like that. Most people don't go to the lengths of optimization like you have, and I think that's valuable. I think that really helps.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I do. I'm not just saying that.
I know.
I think it's really good. You've taken the time, and you went out and hired content people. You
Yes.
hired video, and
Had a videographer. I had a copywriter.
how long did it take you to put all that content together?
About a year.
Uh-huh.
A year. I mean, and it cost $500,000 to get to where I am today.
Yeah. No, it takes time and it takes money. I understand it, but I'm guessing you've made a lot of it back because.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably made a lot of it back, if not a lot.
Well, I'm not in the red. I know that.
Right. So that's good. Collecting all that content is a valuable thing.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, because if someone types in they want to buy a house in Red Rock Country Club, well, if you don't have content about Red Rock Country Club, how do you think they're going to find you? They're not.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're at the top of the hour already here. Ruth,
Already.
Jeff.
My goodness.
Yeah, already. So no, thank you so much for coming on, Jeff. Definitely have you back on. And I think the real estate community, both here locally and across the country, are going to find your content and your knowledge very valuable. I mean, I learned a couple of things.
I'm happy to work with
anyone
who wants to contact me. I'd appreciate it. And I think I have some pretty good ideas on how to do this stuff. So
yeah.
And listen, everybody, I have to tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I probably spent 5 or 6 hours with Jeff, and he's working on our Google presence, and we're just so excited. He's going to be working with us for a whole year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And his information's down there. So Jeff,
it's been scrolling.
Yep. It's been scrolling the whole show. So give Jeff a call, and he's fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the time. And
thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Happy to answer anyone's questions. I like to help people out. So anyone who has any questions, just fire away.
Maybe we'll have a class, and you can come teach a class.
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that.
Speaking of, we have a class on Monday. Let's see, where'd it go? There it is. Monday from 10 to 1, 3 CE credits, and the subject is selling new homes versus resales. So you can zoom in from the comfort of your home, or you can come into our classroom and get a free lunch, and you can sign up at bee.vegas. So go to bee.vegas, you'll see the calendar, go to May the 10th, click the sign up button, and you'll be signed up to get your 3 CE credits for selling new homes versus resales, which is general credits, and you need 12 of those right now. So three, we do a class every week. Every week we do a class, and once a month we do a general, and then once a month we do agency, we do contracts, we do law, and we do agency, law, and ethics. So those are the topics that you're required to take, and we provide it all for you. That's it for me today.
All right, everybody. Have a great Mother's Day weekend, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week,
Thank
everybody.
You, Jeff.
And tune in tomorrow morning.